So we got Tyler Perry out, and you know, Tyler is a super religious guy. Religion is at his core. And we wanted to find out from him what he thought about what Donald Trump said, that people in houses of worship should arm themselves.
Or that, that the churches or synagogues should have armed guards. I don't know if he, well, who knows? He might have
he was vague on that, but that's always been his thing. He's talked about arming teachers inside of school. So anyway, what Tyler said is so interesting because on the one hand, he really doesn't like what Trump said, and on the other hand, he kind of concedes it a little bit.
I disagree. I strongly disagree.
Then here's what he said.
How do you feel about Trump wanting to feel as though we need gun control in churches?
I think the houses of worship should be houses of worship.
I agree.
I think houses of worship should be houses of worship, and I think that we need stricter gun laws. I don't know if that's the answer.
Is it ruin praying for you if you go to a church and you see a gun?
No. I go to churches where there are armed guards. Unfortunately, that's the climate we live in. But no, it doesn't change your relationship with God. It just makes you really think that this country is getting to be really, really sad. There's some people who are getting some really bad voices. Voices are being given to some really bad people.
Okay, why? To me, he was saying...
He made it very clear he does not
He doesn't like it.
He does, not only does he not like it, he doesn't agree with it. Now,
but he said he has guards in his...
He acknowledges that his church, they do have guards, but he doesn't like it. And he made it clear in the first place that he doesn't like this idea. Doesn't think it should be that way.
But he's not again. Look,
no, he's not. I agree with you that he's not.
Saying?
He's not saying he's not going to go to a church if they have armed guards.
Right.
He's just saying, I don't think that that's the solution.
I agree with you, but it's like he doesn't want the solution from Trump.
But you're making it sound like he called for the armed guards there.
No.
He's going to go to the church.
I'm not throwing shade on him.
No, I know you're not throwing shade on him, but I just think you're not really listening to what he said.
I thought I heard what he said. He doesn't like Trump's solution to it.
He doesn't think it's a solution.
But yet...
And then we asked him, does it change your experience in church? He said, no, my relationship with God is not affected by that. It does make me think that our country's in a sad place.
But he said that he has guards in his church.
Yeah, it's about time the churches take care of us, isn't it? Don't you think it's about time the churches take care of us? Now it's unfortunate, but we are targets in churches and temples and other places of worship. It's good that they're taking care of it with guards.
Look,
my temple has had guards. I've been to a temple where there's a guard outside.
Yeah, mine does too.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. It's just sad. We're in that time now where we need a little extra protection.
Hi, Daniela Rodriguez from Atlanta, Georgia, and I just wanted to say that Tyler Perry is an immensely respected person in the community here in the South, and if my net worth was $600 million, I would also be going to churches with armed guards. That's not to say that one life is more valuable than the other, but I think the subliminal takeaway here is really that we all need to vote because gun control is a really important issue, and there are candidates that have plans in place to change what is going on right now.
That's true.
The question is, what can change? Can anything change given what's going on? Look, we got to move on.
Yeah.